Cheers.
Yes.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Not Us podcast, hosted by two sisters, myself, Angela, and my glittery and glamorous sister, Sam, where we talk about change, choices, and we celebrate all those messy bits in between.
We're not licensed doctors, therapists, gurus, or witches. The stories and opinions expressed in this episode are our own, for entertainment only, and subjected to change. Swearing is possible, and remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ange, what are we chatting about today?
Hose. Ho, ho, ho. Our favorite time of the year. Christmas. Well, not really Christmas, more the holidays and how you survive the holidays, whether you love the festive season or not. Now, we are both great lovers of the festive season, I think. Yes.
We
I
are.
mean, but given the number of Christmas trees that you have in your house, one can only assume. How many do you have?
I have two. This
Okay.
is my small one, and then I have my main one, which this year is black on black on black with lights.
Wow. Festive. Good
Very
solid black
black.
Christmas. I'm dreaming of a black Christmas.
So, what do you mean surviving the festive season? Doesn't everyone love this time of the year?
Alas and alack. No, Mary Poppins, they do not. Well, I know I know you're probably thinking in your mind, your favorite saying, I'm sorry, I can't be friends with you if you don't love Christmas.
I was.
But truly, not everyone loves it as much as we do.
I was thinking that, but I do also acknowledge that this is a great time of year, but it's not the most easy or stress-free time of the year. And this year is a little bit different for a multitude of reasons. But if I cast my mind back to last year, I did witness a rather stress-filled Christmas Day. Do you recall your last Christmas?
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. Oh, sorry, you said last Christmas. I think I need a break into song every single time you say something that is a lyric from a Christmas song. Last Christmas, yes, it was somewhat different just because we'd only moved into our house a few weeks before and we were hosting Christmas, and our mom had come from South Africa. You and your partner had come from the Netherlands, and it was mine and Nathan's first Christmas together in the house. So we hadn't established things like kitchen etiquette, and he's the main cook in the house. But he was also super stressed. He was out to impress. He wanted it to be perfect. He didn't know his kitchen well. I had a nut roast to make, and it was just so stressful. I remember you finally saying, right, I think maybe it's time we just take the dogs for a walk, because I was about to spontaneously combust and not into glittering lights.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much how I recall it. I was waiting for you to pop a fuse, but it was a great day anyway. And we had a wonderful Christmas Eve. We went to see some lights, and all's well that ends well. And of course, after the great meal that Nathan and yourself had prepared, we got to play some Christmas games, and you and I won. Our mom was actually on the team as well, and we won by landslide victory.
Oh, sweet victory. Is there any better way to finish Christmas than destroying the competition?
Well, as long as no one cries, then it's a good Christmas. As long as we win and no one cries, it's a good Christmas. Okay, but seriously, we love Christmas, but we know that there's two camps. And in both camps, I think it's a stressful time of the year. I know that you've done a little bit of research in terms of how people actually experience this time of the year.
Yeah. Look, there's been a lot of study that shows this being a much more intense time. Obviously, other than family connection, people are spending more money. I think in the UK, 29% more than what they would on a month. It's Christmas time. And I think there's also that psychological aspect where we want to create this perfect Christmas. Everything needs to be like something out of a Christmas movie. And that just adds a whole bunch of pressure as well, along with spending time for, not for us, because we love hanging out together, but for a lot of families, you know, you can choose your friends, but you can't always choose your family. And there's always that one uncle or whoever it is who's like at the table saying inappropriate things. So, how to survive that? And some of the talking points around that are around creating boundaries, setting realistic expectations for yourself, putting in place some coping mechanisms so that you can actually have your own self downtime. Going back, you know, it's things like financial planning. I've not gotten that right myself. I get to Christmas and I'm like, first I'm too late. So I miss the Black Friday sales and then it's like last minute and I will just spend to get the perfect present. But apparently that's something you should be doing. Um, yeah, so I think that out of those things that speak to me the most are self-care, is taking some time off for yourself, even when you've got a lot of people around you, and setting boundaries. So I know for us, we've got a big Christmas coming up. You're coming over, my brother's coming over from Doha, Nathan's sister's coming for Christmas. So it's basically just siblings everywhere. And we have chosen a safe word when we can't anymore. When the banter gets to a point that it's becoming stressful, usually for me, we have a safe word which has been chosen. I'm not sure if you recall what the safe word is.
I do not, I know what the safe word is. I just think it's something that I shall not be using only because I love the banter. And we've got a Christmas WhatsApp group and it's insane. So it's going to be good fun. But, you know, last year you had family over for 3 or 4 days. This time you've got us over for 2 weeks. How are you preparing yourself?
Medication. No, I think just being organized, but over and above all of that, taking my foot off the gas when it comes to managing my own expectations. Like, I can't entertain everyone for 2 weeks, and it's not my job to. We're all in this together. I'm hosting, and we'll all contribute. Everyone has to contribute equally to the energy of Christmas. So I think for me, that takes some of the edge off, especially for those of us who are control freaks and we really want to make it perfect for everyone. You can only go as far as you can go, and then you have to let it be. And even when it comes to family dynamics, if you're worried that someone's not going to get on with someone else, that's actually their problem. We take on more than we should. So I think for those of us who are in camp pro Christmas and we have lots of family around, and we're talking in that camp right now, it's definitely for me is just making sure I get some time to do my meditations and have quiet time in the mornings to get myself set up for the day, being a little bit organized so that it's not extra stressful, and then actually letting other people share in the contribution, whether that's cooking, cleaning, doing it all, you know, which is very hard for me. As long as no one touches my dishwasher, you will all be safe. Do not pack my dishwasher.
Or do not worry. I will not even try and pack a dishwasher because I'm waiting for someone to please teach me how to pack a dishwasher properly.
I can show
Because I
you.
don't think they're well designed. If you have a bowl that you need to pack into your dishwasher, it's a problem. It's a nightmare.
How about you?
How about me? What? How am I
How are
preparing?
you survive? How are you going to survive 2 weeks? Tequila.
No, because we know I don't drink that much. It's the same. It's really just about setting realistic expectations. So for me, as a guest, I don't want to feel like I can't do anything or touch anything, and I do want to contribute. That's important. So it doesn't feel like you're being entertained the whole time. I don't need to be entertained the whole time, and I need a little bit of space to myself. And having spent weekends with you, Angela's an early riser, which is fantastic. I'm not such an early riser. Well,
which is wonderful.
I am an early riser, but I don't leave my room until I am ready to face people. So that's normally at least like 90 minutes after I've woken up and got myself prepared. So it's really about setting realistic expectations. I'm not looking for a perfect Christmas. In actual fact, if it's not perfect, that's also okay. So last year we were going to have Christmas lunch. It ended up being Christmas dinner. And it's one of my favorite stories to tell because so yes, we planned this. It didn't go according to schedule. And that's okay. We had a good time. So I'm pretty easy in that, like from that point of view. And for me, Christmas is about spending time together, having great food, laughing, teasing each other. I am not even that interested in the gifts. I love gifting, but it's more about just making memories. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to spending time with you and your brother and Nathan's sister and Nathan and the dogs. And even though I'm petrified of cats, Arnold as well, and just being around people that I love and new people. And when I think back at like past Christmases, that's always been, as a family, that was always our approach to Christmas. It was the one time of the year that the whole family came together and we would spend time together. Of course, we're now all dispersed all over the world, and so that doesn't happen. But that's the part of Christmas that I love. It's not the Christmas trees. And of course, my house, I've got 2 Christmas trees, a very subtle black on black on black with lights. And then my pencil tree here at the back, which is this year it's pink, black, and white, but quite minimalist. So I enjoyed those kind of things, but it's really just about taking time out to enjoy, to spend time with people that you don't always get a chance to spend time with during the year, or to make those magical memories. And magical for me is not like the big glitz and glam, it's the disasters.
So you can laugh about them for the next year and mock
Next
people
decade.
for a whole year.
There we
Yeah,
go.
a decade.
There we go.
Because sis, I have a real heart for people who are lonely at Christmas time, and you'll know this from when we were in South Africa. I would often have someone over for Christmas lunch from an old age home, or just anyone who didn't have anywhere to go for Christmas. And also a lot of Christmas time, we would spend certainly on the day before and Christmas Day and then Boxing Day going to animal shelters or doing outreach sort of work, just community work. And I think that for people who don't like Christmas, who want to scream when they hear another Christmas carol as they enter the mall, or actually just on a way more real level, who are lonely, lots of people have experienced loss this year. It'll be the first Christmas that they are not with their loved ones. Someone may have passed. People may not be together anymore. Relationships are split up. And that's very real. It becomes such an amplified time of the year. And so all of our emotions are supercharged and everything feels so intense. And I'm wondering what you think or what advice you might have for people who are super lonely and don't necessarily want to reach out. And what do we do for people who are lonely at this time of the year?
Why would you ask me? How would I know? No, but you can feel lonely even in a group of people. And that is a
Truth.
reality. And so I think it comes back to the expectation stuff again. I think it comes back to also just respecting people where they're at. If someone doesn't want to spend time or they don't want to engage or whatever it is, allow people to be, but at least extend the offer in terms of we're here if you want to do something, please join us. This will be the first year that I am no longer with my partner. So it's going to be an interesting Christmas because it's the first time in 18 years that we won't be celebrating Christmas together. And you actually asked me about that last night. How am I feeling? And so right now I'm feeling fine and I'm looking forward to what's in store. But of course, on the day and nearing the day or even traveling to you, I might have very different emotions. And I guess, how am I preparing myself for that? Because both times that I've spent time with you and Nathan, just seeing your connection can stir up emotions of like sadness and loss. But it's really just, it depends on where you are at in your life. And I've spent a lot of time this year working through emotions. And so my technique is to journal or to speak or just to allow the emotion to flow through me, which I've not been good with in the past. I've always kind of tried to suppress my emotions. But now my approach is to allow the emotion to acknowledge it, allow it to be without judgment, and then to allow it to pass. And I mean, there've been dinners where you may have asked me a question and it might have been, you're looking like you're in such a better space. And then I was in tears. And so it's also just surrounding yourself with people that you feel safe with, so that however you show up, there's space for them. And often we are so afraid to show up authentic because the moment is expected to be perfect and your darker emotion might not be welcomed. And I think whether that's spending time on your own and making the decision that this year I want to actually just ring in the festive season on my own, or if it's been with people that you feel safe, you've got to feel safe in the space that you're in. That's my approach. I don't know if it's going to be I don't know how it's going to play out, but that's definitely my approach. And I'm going to be with people that I feel super safe with and who allow me to feel what I'm feeling. And then there's always a room for me to go and, take some time out. There's a dog for me to walk if need be. There's two in actual fact. That like I've lost my mind if I'm walking the cats or stroking the cats.
That's fine. He's actually around me at the moment, howling for attention. It's just, I think something else that comes to mind and thank you for sharing that, for your vulnerability. I know that takes a lot to talk about, so I appreciate it. But something else that comes to my mind is just in general to know that even as you are catching public transport, if you're on your commute, if you're in the shopping malls, that everyone might be a little heightened. And so it's to try and really keep grounded. And I speak to myself now about this. This is like advice to myself, is to have a little bit of allowance at this time of the year that people may be going through more intense emotion than otherwise would. And giving an extra smile that costs you nothing. Helping someone with their shopping bag is a gift you can do easily. Thinking of your neighbor or someone who's on their own, you could take them a Christmas present. It could just be a cookie that you baked, or inviting them over to come and have eggnog or whatever. I don't know what people have, but you know what I mean? It's like looking at your own community around and seeing what you can contribute in a small way so that it's not over the top and undoable. Because I think many times we look at helping other people or contributing to people at Christmas time, and it feels like if you're huge, it's not significant, like it doesn't count. But actually, just literally even popping a Christmas card under your neighbor's door, that could be a massive thing, just to let them know that they are seen. So I would really encourage people who are listening to this or watching this to think about what you can do to contribute to someone. Random acts of kindness over Christmas for those who might need a little bit of extra love.
That's a really good reminder. And I would add to that by saying maybe assume that people are more stressed this time of the year, whether it's work deadlines or whatever that might be, maybe the assumption should rather be that people are more stressed this time of the year. And so lead with kindness is really the approach to take. And that's what this time of the year is about. It's about kindness and sharing. And it's not about the gifts and the spending and the eating, but it's really just about a moment in time, like we spoke about on the Thanksgiving episode. It's about taking a moment in time in your busy life to connect. And I love that. I think that's what I'm going to do this weekend is write a couple of cards for my immediate neighbors who, I mean, I'm friends with my next door neighbors, but for the rest, I greet on the street, but don't really have much of relation with them. So I think that will be my task before I come to you, is to ensure that I have popped a Christmas greeting or a holiday greeting card into all of my neighbors' postbox, letterbox.
Yeah.
Will you do the same?
I actually have all these great plans about baking something nice or making spicy nuts and just giving little token gifts out, but we'll see how far I get with that. But I wonder, for those of you who are listening or watching, if you wouldn't pop into the chat and let us know what random acts of kindness you like to do over Christmas, or something that someone has done for you that has really impacted your life when you've gone through a time that you were potentially a little bit lonelier or just needed a little bit more nurturing around you. And of course, there is a very real thing that happens. And we probably the kind of people who experience it a bit more is when you elated over Christmas time. I'm thinking now that I live in the UK, because in summer, of course, you've got vitamin D, you're at the beach, summer still continues on. But in the UK, we've got Christmas and it's beautiful and it's fairy lights and ice skating rinks and everything is just magnificent. And then Boxing Day happens and the next day the lights are starting to come down. Well, certainly in our village, I nearly cried last year when suddenly we went from Christmas to no Christmas in days. I mean, I can keep this tree up until mid-January. And so Christmas, suddenly it was a harsh reality. And I think in the Northern Hemisphere as well, the weather is really not at its best during that time. And so people go into proper blues. They really get that post Christmas depression. And if you've been with family and friends and had all that hype, that slump afterwards. What do you suggest people do for the slump, the post-Christmas slump?
You do realize that I'm not a therapist.
But you are a witch, so I expect better from you.
I do want to say that the UK needs to change their policy, because here in the Netherlands, we actually have winter lights. So they're not classified as Christmas lights. So our winter lights stay on until probably the middle of February. So you're not seeing the full festive light displays, but on our streets, our winter lights stay on, which is good. And I think it's also part of just being aware that in the Northern Hemisphere, January is known to be a particularly tough mental period, especially after the Christmas period. Yeah, it's being aware of yourself and being aware of your ups and downs and having the right people to speak to. I had depression for about 6 years, and part of coming off medication, not that I'm suggesting that people should come off, that's personal choice, and it is something that needs to be worked with in terms of your medical professions. But for me, in coming off medication, I really had to be aware of my sugar intake, because I know that if I have had a lot of sugar, I have ups and downs. Definitely my alcohol intake, and that's why I'm pretty much a 2 drinks kind of person. Although I've had 4 tequilas today, trying to record this episode, but 2 drinks is normally my limit. But being aware of what your triggers are, who you can speak to, and what exercises you need to do. Exercise is really important. Getting out in nature is really important. Angela's a tree hugger, and it's been proven that being out in nature is really very good. So it is also about making sure that you are doing things to counter those blues, because once Jan arrives, we've still got at least 2 or 3 months of winter ahead of us. So it's important to be aware. And January, if you haven't planned your spending, can be the longest year of the year. It's not even a month, it feels like a year. And I think that's the important part about surviving the holiday seasons. Don't put yourself in a position that once the week and the day is over, you are going to be in a worse off situation. So don't put yourself in debt for people that you love to buy gifts. Don't overspend in terms of entertaining, etc. If you are having people over, allow people to contribute as well. It's about being adults around the matter, because there's nothing worse than Christmas is behind us and now you've got the winter blues and you've put yourself under like more stress. And that's my advice, my personal advice.
I think it's very good advice. I was thinking of some of those myself, that just the importance of exercise, and that's the New Year's resolution. It doesn't matter if you keep it or not, but even if you just do it for January, get to the gym. It'll help you past Christmas. And I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday. They were interviewing the glucose goddess, which is a really great book. But again, being reminded of the effects of sugar on our systems, and certainly on your system when it comes to depression. And I think that can kind of things, and that's okay. But there's some hacks that you can do around that to make sure that your glucose levels aren't spiking. Little hacks. That doesn't mean you can't have all those nice things, but ways you can support your system so that you don't then hit the slump and start fighting with your family and elbowing people on the tube and screaming at Siri, or in my case, Alexa, when she doesn't want to play the right music. So it's to take that extra care and be conscious that this can be a really intense time of the year for people.
And I think it's good to look at nature. Winter's about taking time inwards. And so this is a really good time. Yes, you want to get your exercise, and that's really important, and go for a walk. You don't have to join a gym. It might not be what you want to be doing, or you might not be able to financially afford it, might not be near you, but you can walk, you can run. Walking is fantastic. 10,000 steps a day is what we should all be aiming for. But if you look at nature, winter is about going inwards. And so this is a great time to work on your mental health, work on your personal goals, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, where winter is straight after Christmas. In the Southern Hemisphere, it's completely different. But then again, take advantage and use nature as a guide in terms of rhythm. So in the Southern Hemisphere, maybe you are more committed to an exercise program because the weather allows for that, and you can be out more, and maybe you are more social. In the Northern Hemisphere, it might be a case of this is a really great time to go inward and to be a little bit more introverted. I mean, if you're an extroverted person and you need to be around people, great. But you can still take time to start a journal practice or a meditation practice or anything that's going to set you up for a good 2026, is what I would say.
Yes, loving that. This, what we want to, I mean, we're sharing this and we're saying Happy Christmas. What are maybe one or two key takeaways that you would like to leave with people?
Yeah. So for me, I'm definitely in camp. I love this time of the year. I don't love this time of the year for the commercial aspects of it. I love this time of the year because it's always been a time of year where I've got to spend time with my nearest and dearest. And sometimes that nearest and dearest is family that I only see once a year. And this year, I'm really super excited to be spending another Christmas with Angela and Nathan and new people as well. And so I guess for me, it's really about look beyond the commercial elements in terms of the relevance of this time of the year. And then two, plan for this time so that beyond this period, you will have a good start to the new year. And January doesn't have to be the bleakest month of the year, is what I would say I would be sharing in terms of surviving the festive period, whether you are in camp. I love everything about Christmas or I cannot stand this time of the year. But it really is about just community and family and spending time with those that you love. And it's not about the monetary elements of this time of the year. So that's to let you know you're not getting a Christmas gift, Ange. You're getting my love.
Really not.
I know.
You know, gifts are one of my love languages. So
So you will be getting gifts.
putting that out there.
Oh, that's a great point because my love language is actually quality time. And so I suppose that's why this time of the year means so much to me because I get to spend quality time with people I dig. Okay, so now what would your takeaway be?
Yeah.
My love language is gifts.
I mean, look, when I say gift, I love a diamond. I'm not going to deny it. You know, I love something that sparkles, but it can just be a simple card from someone, a token, someone just making something nice for me for breakfast. And I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be a big token gift, but gifts are definitely one of my love languages. A flower makes me happy. So I think for me, what I would love for people to think about is, and this is from me as someone who's a highly sensitive person. That's actually not like, oh, I'm super sensitive. there is a category called HSP, which means anything too extreme, the extreme noise, the extreme sound, the extreme light, the extreme people in the shopping center. That circle really drains me. It has impact on me. So for all of those of you who find this time of the year to be super intense, make sure that you create some boundaries around yourself, breathe. And if you feel really triggered by things, if Christmas is not your thing and it's all getting too much, is to, as Sam was saying about winter, retreating, connect with nature, just try and step away from that complete chaos that can happen. And then for me, other than spending time with people I love, it really is how can I connect with someone else? And so it would be looking after yourself, but also thinking about those random acts of kindness that we can do for a stranger, a smile, a nod, something to let people know that they are loved and seen, even if they're not loved, if you don't know them, just that you see them. And of course, lastly, sparkle. Wear something sparkly for Christmas. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Come on, show me your sparkle, Sam.
There we go. And my tree sparkles and it's black on black on black.
Of course it is. Black on black on black. I'm dreaming of a black Christmas. Of course, there's something about that, you know. Black diamond.
From us, we want to wish each of you a happy holiday. May you be surrounded by love and peace. And thank you for supporting us. This is our 10th episode, and we really appreciate that. We will be taking a short break, and we will be back in January. But Angela does have a surprise for all of us around the 20th. Look out for the announcement on our socials. Anything from your side, Ange?
Yes. Well, that's also just to say thank you so much to those of you who have been taking precious time out of your lives to listen to our podcast and for sharing your beautiful comments. It's been wonderful spending these last 10 weeks with you. And I really look forward to seeing what 2026 will hold for all of us. And so I wish you magic, love, laughter, and a wonderful festive season.
Well, there we go. So thank you for listening. Remember, you can email us with comments, feedback, or suggestions at notuspod@gmail.com. Subscribe to our channels on Instagram and Facebook, and catch us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thank you for listening, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.